Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz. Welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less. Today, our guest is mindset expert and business coach Therese Skelly. She works with mission-driven entrepreneurs. She shows them how to clear energy and money blocks to get authentic visibility and learn to sell so that they can own their own value, make more money, serve more people, and have a business that makes them happy. To Therese, there's nothing more exciting than helping her clients get their great work out in the world in a soulful way. A former psychotherapist combined with years of marketing, strategy, and consulting, Therese offers the perfect blend of both inner game work and very tactical real-world strategies that allow her clients to see the results that they desire. Welcome, Therese. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Okay, and to begin, would you please describe a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success?
I've got about 10 of them. So do we have
only
lots of
10?
Yeah. Okay. So part of it is this, and is I started out as a psychotherapist, so I literally had a practice. I had never taken a business class, never worked in business, and so I was kind of guided by my soul to jump into life coaching, and then it was, oh, I'm now a business coach. It was kind of like throwing myself in the pool and just going, I hope you can swim. And I got great mentoring. I had really wonderful support, but there was always like a chip on my shoulder. There's always a sense of it. Like, I used to think that being a psychotherapist was like I had something to apologize for. Now, the reality is, my friends would say, you're better than most people because of that stuff, like you're so good at that. But because I had I didn't come via an MBA program. I didn't work in the corporate world. I had this like I didn't qualify, like I wasn't enough, right? So even though I was working in a coaching company, I was getting great mentoring, like such good mentoring, like really the finest experts 12 years ago when I started. I could coach pretty good. Like I started getting really good at it, but there was a part of me that I never owned my value. So when I went out on my own and started my own business, I was like, holy crap, like how do I charge for this? And so what I had to overcome is today what I teach. So I kind of go, wow, I was really blessed actually to have to go through that. And so what that was is I didn't know how to talk about what I did. I had no, truthfully, I started out, I'm a marketing strategist. That's easy. But then as I'm like, well, I kind of like transformation. I kind of like mindset. I like inner game. I'm like, why couldn't I just sell websites? Darn it. Like, that's easy to sell. Shoot, I wish I was a copywriter. I could sell headlines. But when you sell stuff that's like energy or service-based, so I couldn't talk about it. I could not own my value. And then I couldn't sell it, right? Because of those three things. And so that's what I really had to overcome. So I really understand somebody that's like, hey, I'm a healer, or I'm a speaker, or I want to do consulting. When it's you being the commodity for sale, oh Lordy, like all your stuff comes up, right? So where probably a lot of your guests come on and say, oh, I hit 6 figures in 7 months. I'm like, mine took about 7 years. Like I was on a really slow train.
Right.
And then I had some financial stuff. Like, that was a huge challenge when the economy went south. I ended up losing everything. And again, that was, oh, boo, I get to teach that today. So today I work a lot with money and an attraction of money and how to be with money. And so it's really helped, like the journey of being in this entrepreneurial path has shown me the places either that I didn't have it right, like it wasn't right with my money, I wasn't right with my marketing, I wasn't right with how I was trying to sell. And it's shown me solutions. Like I had to kind of live into like, well, God, we got to figure this thing out, right? So that's
right.
a lot of challenges.
It was owning your value.
Huge, Huge.
It was owning your value on top of being able to even share what you was doing, because I think everything that you said just boils down to owning your value and believing in yourself.
Yeah.
All the challenges, the money blocks, I come from psychotherapy. I don't come from corporate.
Yeah.
It's all just owning your value with that you're very unique in your authentic self. And it's one of the things that I love about you is you are so authentic. You're totally, the first time anybody ever sees you, you're totally, I think, unforgettable. So.
Well, I probably will be swearing or saying goofy shit. but that's part of my brand is that I am right now who I am with you is who I am with my friends. And like, there's no like, oh, let me put my work self on, right? And that's owning my value. That's being part of my brand is transparency and being this goofy person that I am.
And that's, I believe, everybody. It's just, hey, you have to be you. I mean, I can't be you. I have to be the best Cindy I can be and own my silliness and my quirks. Years ago, even in corporate today, you can't separate personal and business more. But whenever you're in a service-based business, you cannot separate your personal from your business. It's just who you are. And that's what draws your ideal clients to you.
Right. That's the goal. Is like I say, you can't take your business out of your life. And why try?
Right.
So people show up and they're like, really? You're that? Like, I work with my clients, like people need to feel you. They need to know like, well, sometimes you're that, sometimes you're that, and that's your vibe, that's your energy. So that's the work I do is like, how do you get that out more? How do you be that more?
And I know I just got done reading Decide by Jim Palmer, and he talks a lot about the difference between, in today's world, you cannot separate you from your business. And he's like, some people think, oh, I should just stop working at 6 p.m. every night. But as an entrepreneur, as being a heart-based business owner, our business is on our minds 24/7. We eat it, we drink it, we sleep about it, we dream about it. And I thought that is just so true, and I liked the way he described that in the book.
That's cool.
I know that you say the entrepreneurial journey is a spiritual path. So can you explain what you mean by that?
If you pursue this path, things will be revealed to you that you didn't know, right? I didn't know I couldn't know I had no idea I couldn't know my value. Right. It's like when you're here, you're like, cool, I got it going on. Then when you're like, but I want to be here, that's like, crap, there's a big gap. And so either the leadership in you, the limiting beliefs that you need to like let go of, it's like you have to be a whole new version of yourself. And what I say to my clients is, it really, to me, is a spiritual journey. This is my ministry. Like the work I do, it's my mission in the world. So I then have to become the best steward I can be to deliver the mission. And that means, stuff's gonna come flying. Like, you know what I mean? So like any place where I would be afraid to, like, I don't have visibility issues. I just had my value issues. So I could talk, I could be in charge or anything, right? And so whatever the thing is for you, you're gonna get hit there. And I call that spiritual because you release something that's no longer working. You release an untruth of you. And what's revealed at the end is like a better version of you. Like my clients, like wink, wink, they come to me to make more money. Of course they do. But really, they end up being better versions of themselves. They end up transforming their lives because we pull out the blocks. We help them to be way better. And like, oh yeah, you might make money. Yeah, sure, cool. But your family's better. Your relationships are better. Your serenity's better. Your body's better. Like it's all connected because you're going on this pursuit of making money. And then your stuff gets stirred. So,
and it's the reason anybody decides to be in this business is that they're personal growth junkies. It's truly, I know years ago, I was fortunate enough to see Brian Tracy. I absolutely fell in love with Brian Tracy, and I had brought a friend to this event with me. She didn't care for Brian Tracy much at all, and she was like, I couldn't understand him, I couldn't this, and I was just eating every word this man said, right? And then later, when we was up in the hotel room, she like looked at me and she goes, aren't you personally developed yet? And I thought, no, I'm never gonna be personally developed.
I say, you still have
there's no end.
You still got a pulse? Well, then you're not done, right?
Right?
Keep going.
I was shocked that she asked me this because I was like, we have to grow continuously. I mean, you know, none of us are the same person we was even last week.
Exactly.
Even if we think that we are, aren't we
Exactly. But
changed?
here's the deal. Like you and I know it's personal growth, but when you start just thinking, oh, I just want to have freedom. I don't want anybody to control me.
Right.
I want to be and then like tee-hee, you're gonna get banged, right? And I love that, but you have to surrender to that. So like when my clients, one of the things I always ask my clients is, and how is this perfect? And they kind of initially go, but they love it eventually because they'll say, oh my God, my launch failed, or oh, I had a client leave, or I didn't make enough money. And I'll go, cool, how's it perfect?
How's it
Because
perfect?
I always want them, instead of like, it's hard, it sucks, I'm a victim, this is terrible. I'm like, okay, that's the truth, right? All that's true. But what else? And it could be like, wow, I didn't really believe in that launch, or I was holding myself back, or see what I mean? So that's the work I do all the time is like, you're going to look in, you're going to figure it out from that angle. So they become personal growth junkies. But I think sometimes people don't know. They're like, how come, why do I feel so insecure? I've actually had people that say, I had an MBA, I had a 6-figure business in corporate, and I started my own business. The whole world blew up. So when you're working for somebody else, or when you play by different rules, but when you're on your own, when you are the commodity, when you're, especially when you're selling you, like it just blows open, right?
Yeah, it is. It's completely different. Even, you know, I come from social services. And so it was, you know, similar to psychotherapy, you know, in the way that in the field, but it was very difficult for me even to come into coaching. And then I used to think similar to you, it's like, well, I was never in corporate, but I learned a heck of a lot in social services.
It's probably more valuable than being in corporate, right?
Right. And the corporate people too, sometimes I think they have to be too perfect. Whereas other than just letting go and letting their quirks show, and they're Irish in them. It's one of the things I think I remember the first time I seen you, you're talking about being Irish, and I was like, yeah, no.
I got the spots. You can tell that.
Also, you teach that your brain is not your friend. So why isn't your brain your friend?
See, love that. So here's what happens. Let's say, Cindy, let's say I'm coaching you, right? And I say, okay, I want you to raise your rates, and I want you to like, no, you can be more, you can do this. Now, what's going to happen is our brain is literally wired to protect us. You have to understand that. From the cave days when things were jumping out and, you know, there was like danger, our brain would have to race ahead and go, okay, around that corner, that could happen, and that could happen, and that could happen. So our brains are wired to keep us safe. It's our physiology, our biology from back in the day. So now you're presented with a new opportunity, like Cindy, I want you to charge $5,000 for that. And I want you to, now your brain's going to go, oh my God, wait, what?
Right.
And it pumps out all this stuff. What I teach people is, here's what I do. I do a lot of hand motions. I do no collapsing. Because usually what happens is we get an idea. We're like, oh, that's so cool. No, you can't do that. And so we're like, uh-oh, it's probably wrong. Okay, well, no, you don't listen to your brain. I teach my clients how to source. Does it feel good in your body? Does it feel good in your heart or your gut? Is it a yes in your soul? Is it a yes in the soul of your business? Then your brain is just like, my metaphor is this. Like if you have a dog and somebody rings a doorbell, the dog's gonna bark, right? Because the dogs are wired to alert. And the dog's like, right. And we just go, okay, down, like chill, quiet. You don't run out of the room. You don't go, oh God, the dog's barking. You just go, shh. Here's what you do. You go, shh, I got it.
I've got
it. Acknowledge the dog. Shh. Okay, you did your job. Shh, I got it. So with this voice in your head, you got to understand it's not edifying you. It's not like, you're awesome. You're so freaking cool. You're totally charged. It's like, who do you think? What if it fails? They're gonna. It never says a positive thing usually. So if you understand it's not your friend, and just go, oh, it's not interesting. Just like the dog barking, it's trying to alert me. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right, I'm not stopping though. That's the thing.
Important.
Stop.
It's important to remember the opposite too, that it's not your enemy.
What I find usually though, Cindy, is most people let this stop them. Because I will craft, like I could have you in front of me, woohoo, I work my magic, I've cleared all your blocks, I've given you like the greatest strategy ever in the world, and then people come through, etc., and go, well, I don't know, I got kind of scared.
Oh,
I heard
yeah.
that's what I mean. So that is
Oh,
your
I do know that. I totally understand that. But some people think that they need to, that it's the enemy. It's something to kill. And it's not
kill
something,
it.
yeah,
can't-
you can never do it. And it's not your enemy. It just is. It's really a good ally, just like the barking dog. It's a
yeah,
good ally.
yeah, you got
But
it.
it's not something that you have to, that it's not your friend, but it's not your enemy.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it's just your ally that is telling you to, alerting you to stuff. It's alerting
Yeah.
you to the knock on the door.
Open the door, there's a knock, and you just go,
Right.
okay, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
And I got this, I'm okay. It's all right. We're
Mhm.
only we're just gonna open the door. We're
Yeah.
good. We're good, so
Yeah.
negotiate.
Now, with me, it was a tactic that I'd learned, in marketing, was to say that you charge more than what you did. Like I was charging $200 a month, and so I started telling people whenever I would do my calls, I'd go, it's $300 a month, but this month I'm giving people $100 discount, so it's $200. But what I found in doing this is nobody batted an eye whenever I kept raising my rates. And so that helped give me the courage to raise my rates. So do you have any suggestions on like raising your rates even whenever you're terrified? Like, oh my God, how can I charge that?
Yes. So this is an own your value exercise. Okay, so it's
Mhm.
a little bit. This is the 15 minutes a day. Is this what that is? A 15 minutes a day exercise?
Well, I was going to ask you that. So if that's what it is, we can hold
Let me-
off on that.
Okay,
Or you?
I wanted to do that one. I'm
Okay.
gonna put it in there because it's
Okay.
really juicy. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we will definitely remember that.
Okay.
And next, also, you talk about the little voices, that they can collapse our marketing efforts. So can you talk a little bit about that?
That's just it. It's like the little voice. So what happens is, if you understand, like, pardon the bad analogy, but a woman that is having periods every month and gets hormonal will say, don't mind me, or, oh my God, it's because I'm like, yeah, it's just my menstruation. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to be kind of in that for 5 days. And I understand that, but then, on the first it'll stop and I'll be good. Right. So there's like a narrative around, oh, that's why I feel this way. And it's okay. It's okay. I might not like it. I might have to take things for the symptoms, but that's the why, right? But what happens when you endeavor on a new thing, and that's why I say don't collapse, and why it's not your friend, is because very often people like dance with it. They, well, I'm hearing that I could fail. So as opposed to, look, it's just a little voice. It's just alerting you. And, every time you're going to go up another level, you're going to hit, I still get it. If somebody tells me like, you should sell, I'd be like, so the thing is though, I don't let it stop me. Now I just go, okay. And here's what you do. You go, there's a part of me that's feeling that. And you kind of compartmentalize it. Like, okay. Now, if you need to talk to, I love talking to the parts. Doesn't make you a schizophrenic. You just talk to the parts, right? You say, okay, what are you afraid of? And a great question, Cindy, is this mine or is it somebody else's? When I started asking that, things change, because like, oh yeah, it's mine. Yeah, well, I'm scared that they're going to think I'm a big fat fraud. Okay. So then you would say, well, so you're afraid, and then what are you, and then what else? And then what else? And just give it voice. You think I'm a fraud. And then what do you fear happening? Well, nobody's going to stone me today. Nobody's going to take my kids away. What's the thing, right? So then it goes, okay, I'll trust you. Or it could be somebody else's. It is stunning. And you could literally, here's how you do it. You just go, truth, is that mine or somebody else's? Crap. So
I love that. That was one of the things I know you taught me at the beginning too, is how many voices weren't even mine. It's my mom's, it was my first grade teachers, it was my big brothers or my ex-husbands. They weren't even mine. And I'm like, well, what makes their opinion true?
Well, see, that's the thing, is we take on so much and we don't even know. We think it's ours. That's why I say, whose voice is that? And it's funny because we all know. We're like, oh my God, it's my father's voice. And it's like, okay, just give it back to him, or just release it, or like put it in the back, or send it back. Because when you're, it's like, here's your voice. And then you get, like you can't even hear what you want, what you desire, what's in your highest and best. So what happens, you go to market and then you hear all these voices. It stops you. And so the goal to me, like, the emotional mastery, like if you can master this, like how not to be stopped, to be like, whoa, okay, I'm so freaking triggered right now. And what I do is like, I use my mastermind partners and my coaches and my friends, and I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm so freaking triggered, help me. I just acknowledge, I don't go, oh, well, I can't do it, because like I don't let myself be stopped. That is my number one commitment. And I've learned how to navigate the fears, the feelings, other people's stuff, and just go, okay, well, not mine, not mine, not mine.
Well, we're sorry. I have to cut you off. We're ready for the 15-minute strategy now. Tell us the 15-minute strategy that you have.
How to own your value.
How to own your value, yes.
Okay, so there's a few different points. So the first one is, who is your market? You've got to know who your market is, right? And you want to know what, and everybody says that, who's your market? And don't do stupid demographic. It's a 50-year-old woman with 3.2 kids, blah, blah, who cares? Right. I want like your market, and I want what their pain is. Okay, so I'm just gonna take my market. My market is service-based business owners. Their pain is they've spent so much money trying to grow their businesses. Okay, so they're spending a bunch of money. And they also, what I also know their pain is that they waste money spending it on stupid, wrong things, right? So they're going to make like bad investments trying to fix things. So you want to say, okay, who's the market? What's the pain or their problem? So the problem is, whatever that is, how much does that cost, or has it cost? So it's either it's costing them this right now, tangible and intangible. So you could go, it's literally costing $10,000, or it's costing intangibly, like confidence, stress in the family, you know what I mean? So, and you want to make a very detailed list. Problem, cost. Now, the two trajectories. So when you own your value, if you have this done and you say, and if they don't work with me, or if they don't get this solved, because I always think I'm the best to work with, right? So if they don't work with me, what's going to happen in 6 months? What's going to happen in a year? And you drill it down and drill it down. And like when I teach selling, this is the thing that enrolls people. Like, okay, we've had this conversation. You tell me you're already losing $10,000 a month. You feel like you're a fraud. Imagine a year goes by. What's going to be different? And people are like, oh, crap. You know what I mean? So if you understand in your being really what it costs them in all those ways, how does it affect their family? How does it affect their health? How does it affect, then you go, what's my solution? Okay, what do they get out of working with me? And you just go, okay, they make more money. Okay, well, and as a result of making more money, and then what? And then what? And then what? And like you really drill this down. When I do this work with people, at the end they're like, I should charge, oh my God, I should charge more. What? I'm not charging enough. Because what happens, Cindy, is that most people go very transactional. Like I charge $500 a month, or I charge $1,000 a month. It's about I charge, and that's where your little voice or your gremlins are like, oh my God. What you want to do is, what's the transformation for the people that I work with? And I love to say that somebody's out there praying for you. Somebody, really seriously, if you just go on a soul level, if this is mission-driven stuff, there is a person for whom you are their answer. And how dare you let this take you out of gifting them with your solution. So if you understand their problem and solution and what you do and what it would cost them if they don't work. So let's say you charge $5,000, but because of all their problems, they're losing $50,000 a year, or in 5 years, they'll lose $100,000. Go there, that's a transactional piece. But then you go to, who do I got to be to help them, right? Then it's not about you, it's about the spiritual part. It's like, oh, I'm willing to do that.
Which is why we all get into the business, is to help other people. I love that. Thank you very much for sharing that. Also, I know that you have a fantastic gift for our listeners. It's mindset hacks to break free and get more visible. So can you share a little bit about it?
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I do not want to watch a 55, 60-minute, 90-minute video. I'll got about 8 minutes. Right. So the mindset hacks are, when I looked at what breaks people down in terms of visibility, there are 3 main places. And the first one is, how do you handle that little voice? How do you handle those little voices?
The little barking dogs.
How do you handle perfectionism? Like, how many people are like, oh, it's not good enough, I'm not. And then the third one is the granddaddy of it all. It's really the core of visibility issues is shame. I'm not enough. Something's wrong. They'll figure it out. So it's 3 small videos where I go through and I explain it and I give some techniques. So they really are, it's not just conceptual. It's like, here's how to handle those 3 things. So I want you to have authentic visibility where you can just be really you and be seen and feel good about it. That's the goal.
Exactly. And shame and fear are so intertwined. It's interesting because, with me, I tell people, I had a client once who was afraid to put his picture on his website, and it's so intertwined, that fear and the shame. And that's the first step really to the self-improvement, to grow up and be visible and to really claim your value.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So
I
good.
love it.
Yes.
And all things mentioned on today's show can be found at bizsuccessin15.com. You'll be able to re-listen to Therese's words of wisdom and also catch up on other episodes that you might have missed. So you want to be sure to run over there and grab your Mindset Hacks free gift. And Therese, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Never stop. Never stop. Find
Never.
a way. Find a way, because if it's in your heart to do, there's a way. And it's and trust that you've got to turn yourself inside out. You might have to do some personal growth work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth it. It's so worth it.
I love it. Thank you. That's great. Never, ever, ever give up. And if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends. Also, you want to hop on over to bizsuccessin15.com to download the Mindset Hacks to break free and get more visibility now. And with that, big hugs, and be sure to tune in next week to Biz Success in 15.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.